Totally different. Hey, y'all already know who this is. Dave, Coach Schwartz. And Dave, it's just you and I here at Santa Monica College Track. I've run, I don't know how many 100 meters, but I did my walking and I did my sprints, folks, and I'm gonna do my rope skipping. Yesterday was a long day of boxing and an even longer day for you of just sports viewing, because you're a baseball fan, right?
I've been rekindled a little.
Okay.
I was really into the both the Astro-Yankee game and the Dodger game.
Yeah.
And then I was really into the SC played. They played. It was a great game.
Gosh, college sports, college football,
Yeah.
Major League Baseball,
Yeah.
boxing. So you watched the boxing from England?
I watched every fight on the card.
Wait, get out of here. Okay, so you watched it live? You watched the George Groves,
I taped-
Jamie Cox fight? Okay.
I taped that card.
All right.
So I watched that entire card, which was incredible.
Really? Okay.
Oh, it was. I mean, it's so good. Then I watched the fights from the StubHub.
That was on the Fox network, and that was the doubleheader with Abner Maris and Leo Santa Cruz.
And Leo Santa Cruz.
Good morning, Boxing Jungle. You're kind of a Santa Cruz fan now, and you weren't like, like 5 or 6 years ago. You're like, eh.
No, a year ago.
A year ago,
I mean,
he didn't do it for you, huh?
I didn't like him the way he's too loosey-goosey, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then what happened when he beat Frampton in the rematch?
Yeah.
Well, I was shocked.
Yeah.
And he looked great.
Yes.
And I like the kid. I really like the kid. He's good. And so
yeah, I tell you what, those 2 fights, those 24 rounds with Frampton has like taken him to another level, and I just see sort of a maturity with him, and he's always like a hard-working kid, but I see a confidence with him now that I think is going to serve him for the rest of his career.
In the fight last night.
Oh, is this a Lions Only Periscope account now? Hashtag Lions Only. That's the Charlo twins. Okay. They're like the Lions, yeah.
Well,
that's what they say, Lions Only. Yeah, you don't really like. You're not a fan of their rather passionate, fiery post-fight interviews.
Well.
Because I'll admit, I kind of like it. I mean, they come off as a little bit crazy, as maybe a little bit, too much of a chip being on the shoulder. But I do like the Charlo twins.
No, he's just the opposite of Chris Eubanks.
Right.
I mean, just the opposite.
Right.
And so I was embarrassed for him. I mean, it wasn't good. I mean, that's the opposite of taking the high road. I mean, to go crazy like that. I mean, if you're Muhammad Ali and you just beat Sonny Liston and it's huge upset, and you want to go through some of that crap, I'm all for that.
Right.
But this was crazy, and there's something wrong. I mean, that's not normal behavior.
Well,
it's really not.
You know what? It is for American boxers.
Well,
maybe not for UK fighters or boxers from any other country, but I hate to say it, I think that's kind of a US thing.
Well, how about the kid he beat? That kid showed a lot of style.
He did.
Afterwards.
Yeah, that's Erickson Lubin. He was Ring Magazine's Prospect of the Year for 2016. Problem was, he's still a prospect in 2017. I don't think he was ready for that title shot. Even if the WBC said he was ready and that he was #1 contender or a mandatory, I don't think his handlers and his management did him any favors by pushing him into a title fight with Jermell Charlo, because he's in his prime, and Charlo's been fighting at the world-class level or near the world-class level from the time that Lubin turned pro. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think Lubin froze.
Yeah, and he got caught, and his chin was always suspect.
It was a weird punch.
It was, and obviously the kid didn't see it, but that's the only hard punch he took. It's not like he got beat up. If mentally he's okay, if he's able to rebound psychologically, he just turned 22, so he could still have a bright career. Yeah, he could bounce back. He has time.
It was a little scary for a second.
I know.
Like something was really wrong.
Yeah, I thought he would get stopped, but I thought it would happen later on in the fight. I didn't see that getting caught cold like that in the first round, so it was unnerving to see him freeze like that.
Getting back to Santa Cruz and Avila's dad should be put in jail.
I agree.
I mean, that was crazy.
I agree.
I mean, to let that kid luckily, the ref stepped in.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen that often.
No, I know.
And that was like...
I'm getting you out of the shadows, Coach.
That was really dangerous. I mean, the father and his whole group was so upset afterwards they stopped the fight.
And all he did was take a beating.
Oh, my God.
actually stopped watching that fight.
I mean,
Yeah, it was too, and I'm a bloodthirsty dude. I like a tough fight.
Yeah.
Like I thoroughly enjoyed the Jarrett Hurd, Austin Trout fight.
Yeah.
And it was pretty brutal. I mean, those guys were putting hands on each other, but they were able to either like Hurd, he's a giant. I mean, he looks like a super middleweight in there. And Trout is, he was trying to defend himself. You know what I mean? So there was just more pro savvy. Hurd, Trout was good. Boxing jungle,
So,
no doubt. That was the fight of the night, guy.
That was a great fight. But all the fights were good. It was what.
I could do without Arislandi Lara. I'm not mad at him. He does what he does. That fight went exactly the way I thought it would. Gaucher's just the wrong style to be able to do anything against Lara.
Does Gaucher work out here? Because I saw Manny Robles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he's trained here for, at least 4 or 5 years.
He sort of froze, too.
Yeah.
He just, or doesn't have it,
I'm not going to judge him off of Lara. Lara is very hard to look good against. Unless you're like a balls to the wall pressure fighter or an incredible volume puncher. Listen, people will call me crazy. I think Lara could make Floyd Mayweather look terrible. With that kind of style, if you try to box him, if you give him his space, if you just stand on the outside or whatever, it's not going to be. He's gonna outpoint you, and it's not going to be terribly exciting.
And Canelo beat him.
I thought Canelo legitimately beat him, but it was very close. I had that 7 rounds to 5. It could have been a draw, and it could have easily been 7 rounds to 5 for Lara.
I mean, that's a dangerous fight for anyone.
Totally.
For Canelo to take that.
Well, for folks who say, there's a nickname, Can Yellow, like he's scared. I'm like, come on. He fought Arislandi Lara. Yeah. He fought Gennady Golovkin, 2 world amateur champions. A kid who had less than 40 amateur bouts in Guadalajara. At the junior level, regional bouts. He's fighting Olympians and world amateur champions. Come on. Give him his due. He's not scared.
Do you know who Joe Girardi is?
I do not. Does that surprise you? I'm going to guess does he have anything to do with boxing?
No.
Okay.
But
so I don't feel so bad then.
Yeah,
okay.
He does.
Oh, does he?
He's a big boxing fan.
Okay.
He watches the show every single week when he can.
Okay.
He's a manager of the Yankees.
Oh, get out of here.
And last week, he made this really huge blunder. He didn't make a call on one of those recall things.
Right.
And he should have, and he didn't, and they lost the game maybe because of that. And he took the high road. Totally took the high road. And I know the high road, I think that's because of you, Dougie. He really likes your jump roping.
All right.
And he sent me a text this morning.
Yeah.
They just lost yesterday. Yesterday was his birthday.
Oh, yeah?
He was 53 years old yesterday. He sent me a text. Is Tom Loeffler going to be on the show today? So
next week.
So Tom's in Germany right now.
Yeah.
And Tom will be on the show next week.
Yeah.
But so Joe Girardi, he gets it for.
He took the high road.
High road of the week.
So how did he do it? He just said, "Hey, I made a mistake."
Well, no, he went through this whole thing. I mean, he said it was the worst day of his life.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew they were going to all boo him the next time in Yankee Stadium.
Right, of course.
I mean, what he did is he assumed the responsibility for the whole thing. He didn't lay it off on anyone. And his true feelings were how badly he felt, and it was a big mistake, and he took the high road, and then they won the next 3 games.
There you go.
To win the series. Now they lost the first 2.
So you take the high road, you put it behind you, you move on.
Yeah.
Right.
But
somebody asked, what's the PBC strategy? I assume they're asking you.
Well.
And are they profitable?
Well, I think they're making a little bit of a comeback.
Perhaps.
I mean, yesterday they really had 3 cards going, if you want to count the one in Europe.
Right.
I mean,
I don't think that's really affiliated with the PBC, though.
Well, it's Richard Schaefer, so.
Yeah, but they're not Al Heyman. PBC is Al Heyman.
So.
Yeah. But they had 2 shows back to back. One on Fox that ran right into Showtime, and the show on Fox previewed the show on Showtime. Yeah. Brian Kinney kind of handed it off to Showtime, so they still kind of have that synergy. I don't think they're profitable. You know,
Well,
they started with the war chest, and they've kind of exhausted it.
Well, they just went through. I read where one guy said how they just built someone out of $1 billion.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty true.
Somebody said when people, well, somebody asked, was it too soon for Lubin? Yes, obviously, and I thought that was obvious going into the fight. But somebody else said when a fighter loses like Lubin, they're typically never the same again. And I'll say, yeah, maybe 60% of the time, 70% of the time, but a lot of times they do come back. There's so many fighters in the Hall of Fame who suffered early career knockouts, quickie knockouts, and they came right back. And there's a heavyweight champion who suffered some quickie knockouts named Lennox Lewis, came back. Vladimir Klitschko lost 3 times by knockout, came back and put together a quality title reign. So, yeah, fighters can come back. They can. Joe Louis was stopped. Comes back. Yeah, guys can come back. You know, they can come back even if they take a beating. You know, Lewis took a beating in that fight with Schmeling. It was an extended beating. He was stopped in the 12th round. But quickie knockouts, I think it's a it depends on how strong they are psychologically. They just, you know, Lubin has to make defensive adjustments. He's got to protect his chin a little bit better. But he's got a good amateur background. He's got natural talent. He's got boxing ability.
He's smart.
He's smart.
Very smart.
Seems to have a good He has a good head on his shoulders. So
totally.
I'm going to say he can come back, folks. Sports fans and boxing fans kind of skew negative, don't they? It's like, oh, that's it. He's done forever. It's done. It's over, man. Yeah, well, it's a shame Boo Boo Andrade never faced Charlo. Andrade is the best, in my opinion. Now, that remains to be proven. But Andrade's moving up to 160, so we'll see what happens at middleweight. Abner got a quickie versus Gonzalez. That wasn't a quickie. That fight went some rounds, right?
10 rounds.
Yeah, I wouldn't call that a quickie. Maybe he meant gimme. Yeah.
Hey, but that was amazing that Santa Cruz corner didn't stop the fight. I mean, that was...
You mean Avalos' corner?
Avalos.
Yeah,
I mean,
Jesus.
Wow.
No, like I said, I like blood. I like a tough fight, but I don't like somebody just taking a one-sided beating. You know, once it's not competitive, I don't give a shit anymore.
And he's been stopped 3 times and never been knocked down.
Yeah.
So what does that say?
Yeah, it means he's too tough for his own good.
So Dean and Max's fighter is fighting, I think, next week.
Yes, he is, on the undercard of HBO Boxing After Dark. Yeah. It's the Corrales Machado card. Demetrius Andrade is in the co-feature, and then on the undercard is a bunch of banner promotions, Thompson Boxing kids, and Ruben Villa the Fourth is among them, along with Michael Dutchover. These guys are good prospects. I need to watch more of them, but I only hear good things about them.
And the guy Diaz is fighting has had over 100 fights.
That many freaking fights? Jeez, wow.
But, you know, if he can't beat this guy, then he should quit. So I'm sure he can beat him.
Of course. All right, Dave, I'm going to turn this over to you. Yeah, You've got questions for me.
I have some questions.
There they are. I have not seen these questions. Right? I don't peek. I don't know if do you even write the answers down, or do you just write the questions?
No, it's one and the same.
Yeah, okay.
So it's that you don't know who Joe Girardi is. I think
that's pathetic, right?
No, it's not pathetic at all.
I don't follow any other sport.
But you're in the minority.
Yes, of course. No,
and this guy is, I mean, he is such a together guy.
Yeah.
And okay.
Well, if he's part of the Yankees organization, I mean, forget about it.
Well, it's the Yankee manager, and he's good. He's really good. Except they're in trouble now.
Well, happy birthday to him. You said he just turned 53.
That's going to probably be his greatest birthday wish from you.
Oh, okay.
No, really. See, the thing is, he works out. He's really in shape.
Oh, good.
And he jumps rope.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, so that's why he really...
I only do it once a week.
Yeah.
On Periscope. Because I want credit for it. I want proof.
Well, according to Bernie Barmasol, you're a show-off. And you don't really notice that much.
Hey, Bernie was working yesterday at StubHub.
And Bernie knows more than you, according to Bernie.
He might.
And I can't... I'm trying to read the questions, but I can't.
It's not easy,
Sorry.
Man. It's even...
it's a little
and they
tough.
come pretty fast.
So I'm not going to try to fake it.
Yeah,
okay. So here's one. This was October 12th, 1975. Okay. If you can come up, this is a tough one.
1975.
Okay.
I was 5 years old.
Okay, and the fight was in Tokyo.
Whoa. I
Okay.
wasn't up on the Japanese boxing scene back then.
Okay, but you definitely know the guy who won it. Arguello KO'd this guy in 5. He retained the WBA featherweight title.
Royal Kobayashi?
Oh, you got it.
Did I get it?
Yep. That is
He
good.
was Kobayashi fought all those featherweights, I think. I mean, I think he fought
got
guys
it.
like
That is
Olivares, maybe
maybe
Chacon, maybe. You know what I'm saying? He was.
Yeah.
And he came here a couple times. Did I get it?
You got it.
All
That
right.
was good. I didn't
There we
think that one. That one I just.
All right.
Okay, who was the referee in that fight? And I'll give you a hint.
Carlos Padilla?
You got it. Wow!
There we go.
With no hints.
Yes.
How did you know that?
Nope. He's Padilla was Filipino, and he'd worked the Thrilla in Manila.
That's the first fight he ever did.
The first title fight he probably ever did, but he's probably a big deal
in
Asia, right?
You know, I think
The
there's
power-
more
the-
to that story about that fight.
Yeah.
The way they picked him.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was really. I can't remember. Do you know the backstory to
No.
why they picked Padilla?
I don't.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, for Ali Frazier 3,
Yeah.
well, I think he was the most prominent referee from the Philippines.
Yeah.
That was a big deal when a government would have Ali come and fight there, whether it was Zaire, Africa, or Malaysia, you know what I mean, or the Philippines or wherever. It was kind of like a PR thing for the country, so they want to represent. So I'm sure they wanted a Filipino referee, right?
So how many people? I mean, the guys who know the most about boxing would have said Royal was the opponent and that Carlos Padilla was the ref. I mean, zero. That is incredible.
Bernie might have got it.
Who would?
Bernie Parmesan.
Oh, Bernie. Oh, no, Bernie had that for sure. You know what, Bernie, I could hear Bernie talking.
Yeah.
Why did it take him so long to get
Yeah,
the
exactly.
address?
I had to think about it. That's ridiculous.
Hey, that was, that is pretty incredible.
I'm a little bit proud of myself for that.
No, that is good. Okay, this was October 14th, 1995. And one guy was from, this was in Munich, Germany. They're both famous guys. Light heavyweight title.
Okay.
The one guy retained his IBF title.
Okay. I know who that
And you
is.
know them both.
Well, I know the guy who retained the IBF title was Henry Maske.
Right.
I don't know if it's pronounced Maske or Mask,
Yeah.
but he was like David Hasselhoff in boxing gloves over in Germany. Huge star.
Yeah.
I believe he was an Olympic gold medalist, like maybe out of the '88 Olympic Games. Big star, great ratings. Wouldn't have been appreciated in America because of his style. You know, he's a pure technician, but huge star in Germany. And he retained his title. Now, did he retain his title against a fellow German or somebody from America?
Well, the guy has, his name sounds like he's from another country, but I think he's from Germany.
Is it Graziano Roscigiani?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds super Italian,
Yeah.
but yeah, he was German. Yeah.
Right,
And
yeah.
he was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Roscigiani fought Darius Mikuszewski twice, and he fought Michael Nunn. I think he might have beat Nunn. Might have been controversial, but he was a contender. Yeah, real talented guy. I think he was one of these guys that had a wild personal life, so he was in jail and stuff like that. That might have hurt his career.
I just watched the Nunn James Toney fight this week.
Oh, get out of here. You know what I watched last night while I was working? I watched bits, select rounds from James Toney, Mike McCallum 1 and 2. Because I don't think I've ever seen the second fight in its entirety.
Yeah.
But the second fight, maybe not as intense as the first fight that ended in a draw, but the second fight, which took place in Reno 8 months later, it's like the boxing that's on display is unbelievable. And you know what I forgot? I forgot Mike McCallum was 35 years old. Totally on top of his game. Oh my God.
He was really good.
What a Hall of Famer. Oh my, the body snatcher. But the boxing, you know, I like a boxer versus boxer matchup when they're like McCallum and Tony.
Yeah.
You boys and girls at home, you should check out the first 2 fights between, because they fought 3 times, both past their prime, you know, when they fought the 3rd time. But the first 2 fights, the first one, December 91, great fight, great middleweight fight. And the second one, you know, in 92. Those 24 rounds, that's what boxing should look like. Because those guys did everything right, but they were active and aggressive.
And James Toney was in shape in those days.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. He's 23 years old, 23
Yeah.
and 24. And you could tell the 12 rounds he went with McCallum in the first fight made him 50% better.
Yeah.
I mean, he was so much more poised and controlled in the rematch. Wow. I mean, that's class boxing on display, kids.
Okay, here's the guy's birthday.
I wouldn't lie to you. I wouldn't lie to you, folks. That's quality boxing.
Those are
right
2
there.
all-time greats. You know, James Toney definitely could have been the all-time great.
Just like discipline.
Yeah.
That tells you how important discipline is, right?
Wow. In everything.
Everything.
How about in driving?
Oh, that's the most important thing.
I caught my wife again.
Oh no.
No, I swear. I call up.
Women get bored.
She picks up the phone.
Yeah. Oh,
I said,
you set her up though. You tempted her.
No, well, I didn't know she's.
Okay.
She picks up the phone. I
I thought you knew that
she
she was
says,
driving.
"Yeah, I'm driving, but I knew it was you." What? Hung up. I hung up. Then she pulls over to the side. I said, "But it was you. What's the difference?"
Yeah, right.
It's me. When you run over that kid.
My wife gets bored, and she likes to. She thinks she can multitask probably better than she can. And so she just does it. Like if she's at a long stoplight or there's a lot of traffic, she wants to do something with her hands. It's like, you know, it's crazy.
You know what I would do?
What?
I would get her a driver.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
you know what?
Full-time driver. It's great.
That's not a bad idea.
No, it's really good.
No, because driving stresses her out.
In your next contract, you should put that in.
Yeah, because then she could read.
Yeah.
Do stuff on the laptop. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in a real,
Driver.
and it has to be a fancy car though.
Yeah,
right?
of course. Gas
sure.
guzzler.
Okay, so here's one. This guy was born October 16th, 1932.
Born October.
October 16th, okay.
30. So he was born in the 30s, right?
He was
Which means he probably started boxing as a pro in the early 50s. Probably turned pro like 51, 52, right? Like 20 years later, right? So then his probably made his name in the 50s.
Yeah.
Because back then, fighters, their careers didn't last that long. You know, generally speaking, they were like 10 years career, but they still fought a lot and they got the most out of it. So we're talking about a golden age, talking about a 50s era.
Right. Okay. He was not from America.
Not from America.
Okay. He won the heavyweight title.
Won the heavyweight title.
In 1959.
Oh, okay. So this is he beat Floyd Patterson. This is Johansson.
Right.
Ingemar Johansson.
Right. Yeah.
What did they call?
Ingo.
Ingo.
The Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
The Thunderbolt.
Thunder. Yeah. Thunderbolt. Yeah. That was his right hand.
So and I saw that fight on Theater TV.
Oh, get out of here! The first one?
I saw every one of them.
Yeah. Were you a Floyd Patterson fan?
I love Floyd Patterson. So I used to go watch him work out in El Segundo.
Really?
Yeah.
He would come out here to work out.
Yeah. Well, he had some fights here.
Yeah.
He fought at the I saw him fight Jerry Corey.
Right.
At the Coliseum.
Yeah, and he won, didn't he? Or
no, he hurt,
maybe he lost.
And his back was bad, and they had to stretch him out during the fight. And,
okay.
But he was he was great.
Was that probably the WBA tournament?
No.
Like the okay.
No, that wasn't a tournament. That was just.
Yeah. I think they fought twice, right?
And speaking of Jerry Corey, I was watching some Jerry Corey fights.
Yeah.
Oh,
what a talent!
God, that guy was incredible.
What a personality too.
Oh yeah, and he was He was also a real good announcer.
Yeah, I was about to say that. He was a good
really
comment.
good.
I've heard his commentary.
Okay, now here's another guy that was born October 18th, 1958. An all-time great. You love him.
Wait, I'm sorry. What was the year?
1958.
1958. Okay.
Right, and he was around for a long time. He's still alive.
1958.
He had some real big fights.
He's American?
American, Midwest.
From the Midwest, huh? Huh. Did he ever do commentary?
No.
Was he a commentator?
Not at all.
No.
His
He's from the Midwest.
I'm
though.
trying to give you a hint without giving it totally away.
Yeah.
Well, he's
Well, did he win a world title?
oh yeah.
Or titles?
Oh yeah.
Plural?
Yeah.
From the a Midwest guy, huh?
Okay, the first fight,
Midwest guy, born in 1960.
the first title he won, he knocked the guy out in the second round. Excuse me, there was a guy that was really good from Mexico.
Oh, Tommy Hearns.
Right.
Yeah, won a world title. Won like a world title in 6 weight classes. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, 5 or 6, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, now
Jeez.
here, this one was also October.
You know, it's so funny. Just to let you know how stereotypical we all are. You said Midwest, and I kind of took that as code for a white guy.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking of like guys.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I grew up in Springfield, Missouri, so I'm thinking about guys who look like the kids I was in school with.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, Sean O'Grady? That's why I asked. Well, did he do a commentary?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right. Well, Oklahoma. Yeah, I guess that's still Midwest. I don't
Not
know.
really.
Yeah, not really. What is Oklahoma?
South.
Southwest, right? Southwest.
So
Yeah,
south.
south. Okay, south. All right. So my
Okay.
geography needs work.
So-
I need to be less stereotypical. I'm like, yeah, Detroit is in Michigan. That's the Midwest. You could be African American.
You
from
can't.
The
You
Midwest.
can't be
Yeah,
any
that
more.
actually threw me off, though. I was
You
like,
can't be any more Midwest than that.
No, that's true. That's right in the middle, isn't it?
So here's, okay, this was on October 18th, 1991, Atlantic City, one of the most vicious one-punch knockouts.
What year was this?
Heavyweight. 1991,
1991.
both real famous guys.
1991 heavyweight fight. Title fight?
You know, that I can't tell you. That I don't
It's in
know.
Atlantic City, though?
Atlantic City. I'll tell you what round, 5th round knockout. And the guy who got knocked out was winning the fight.
This is in 91. It was a heavyweight fight. 91. It was a brutal Atlantic City.
And they just had some special on TV. They showed the fight this week.
Oh, God, I know. That was the most brutal knockout.
Right.
That's got to be Tommy Morrison
Yeah.
against Ray Mercer.
Right.
I think there was a title on the line. I think it was the WBO, but the WBO was still pretty new and kind of
Okay.
lightly regarded.
So I have 2.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, Tommy was ahead.
Yeah.
Have you
On
seen
all
that
3
version?
cards.
Have you? Well, he was. Listen, man, he looked like
He was
only
good.
22. He was just like Lubin.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was only 22, and for 3 rounds, he was putting some combinations
Yeah.
with terrifying speed and power. But Mercer was a grown-ass man, tough as nails, one of the best chins of any heavyweight in the 90s, right next to Oliver McCall. And sometimes the chin wins out. You know, the immovable object beats the irresistible force, because Morrison burnt out. But have you seen that documentary, the 30 for 30?
I haven't seen the whole
Yeah.
thing. I just watched a
Oh,
little.
okay. I haven't seen any of it.
I haven't taken it. I heard it's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, the part I saw.
You know, I met Morrison a few times.
Yeah.
Used to kind of have some correspondence with
He
him.
came to your fight.
Yeah, well, we fought on the same card.
Yeah. Is that your claim to fame?
Yeah. No, the claim to fame is sharing a limo ride with Morrison and Riddick Bowe.
Yeah.
With I think Josephine was with me.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a bizarre conversation, Dave.
And the reason, I tell you, the reason that you don't have a video of that is your iPhone was down and you hadn't bought your new one.
I don't even think I didn't even have a smartphone. It was 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
No, but I wish social media was more prevalent at the time, because I would have periscoped
Yeah.
in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Tommy and Riddick talking to each other about the old days, because Tommy was a character. I mean, he's like out of a movie.
Yeah.
And Riddick Bowe is just
Riddick Bowe.
he's weird, man.
Yeah.
He travels to the beat of his own drum, So nice guy though. Real cool.
Really nice guy.
Yeah.
Hey, so who was the ref in that fight?
God, whoever he was, he sucked, man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, he was a pretty well-known ref.
Was he really? God, I don't know.
Tony Perez.
Tony fucking Perez.
Okay, so I'm going to
the
give you
fuck
this question.
How did Perez let Mercer tee off on Morrison that
What
much?
was in the 5th round knockout? What was the time of the knockout?
I'm going to say 2 minutes and 3 seconds.
28 seconds.
28 seconds into the round. So he was done after 4.
Yeah.
Like he was tired. Like he tired down. He visibly tired in the 4th round.
Yeah.
Because I remember thinking that Mercer won the 4th round.
Yeah.
But, okay, so that early. It was early in the 5th round. Jeez.
Okay,
I
here.
haven't watched that fight in a long time.
Okay, here's one. This was in Atlantic City also.
Hey, did you know that was a TVKO fight? That was one of the early.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in '91. It was one of those first fights after HBO made a killing with the George Foreman Evander Holyfield show, and they were like, "We're going to make this a monthly series."
Oh yeah.
And they would charge you like $19.
Yeah.
At their very next, we were talking about James Toney. Their very next show after Foreman Holyfield was Michael Nunn versus James Toney. Nobody bought it.
I bought it.
Well, yeah, exactly. I would have bought it.
Where was that?
It was in Davenport, Iowa. That was the hometown.
And
of
what
Michael
was the
Nunn.
venue?
I have no idea.
The ballpark.
The ballpark, huh? That's
Yeah.
cool. But this is all '91, and so this Morrison Mercer fight, it was maybe 2 or 3 fights after the big one, but none of those pay-per-views did that well.
And who was the announcer on the James Toney fight?
Joe Goosen?
And who else?
Was Dan Goosen also?
Dan Goosen was so incredible.
They're both excellent.
And
yeah.
I didn't even realize he was on it till I
Yeah,
watched it again.
yeah.
But Dan Goosen was really the lead guy,
Yeah.
and Joe Goosen was sort of the interviewer guy.
Yeah.
But Dan
But
Goosen.
I like Joe as a color commentator, because he's actually, is it Joe? It might be Joe. On if you go to YouTube and you watch the first fight between James Toney, also that fight also took place in '91, the last fight of on TKO in that year. Toney versus McCallum won. I think Joe Goosen is the color commentator on that one.
No, they were good.
I mean,
How was his hair?
impeccable. I hear it still is. He had a fighter on
Yeah.
some card just recently or
Yeah.
whatever. I heard he still doesn't, he doesn't wear the cornerman's jacket,
Yeah, he's got the shirts,
Yeah, exactly.
custom-made shirts.
Yeah. Yeah, he was always fashionable though.
Okay, so this fight, this was a pretty big upset. I lost on it. This is when I used to bet on the fights, and I lost big time. This was
Say it ain't
a
so.
guy I could never pick right,
Yeah.
ever. Every fight I picked
Yeah.
wrong with him. And he won a 12-round decision. It was a non-title fight, and it was in Atlantic City.
What
It was
year?
a big upset. It was October 18, 2008.
2008, huh? In Atlantic City.
Yeah, and you know both. You know
A
them both real well.
non-title 12-round.
Oh, that doesn't
What'd
make
you say?
sense.
Yeah. No? 2008, Atlantic
Wait,
City.
no, that. So anyway, that makes no sense. So
Right.
it must have been a title fight.
Okay, what,
It must have been a title fight, but
took place in Atlantic City,
yeah,
2008.
right.
Is it one of my favorite fighters?
Well, I don't know.
On and off, right?
I don't know if it's your favorite fighter, but you really respect him,
Yeah.
and he's really
Is
good.
it Bernard Hopkins?
Yeah,
Against Kelly Pavlik?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's That was a hard one. That was a hard one.
Oh, I
didn't like that fight.
I didn't give Hopkins.
I didn't like that fight for Kelly Pavlik.
He just schooled him. Was
Yeah.
that's Kelly's first loss, right?
Yes. Yeah, Kelly was undefeated. He was maybe a 3-1 favorite, but he came up 10 pounds. Now, he had the frame to carry 10 pounds, but what the problem that I saw was that people were judging Hopkins off of the Joe Calzaghe fight, which is a totally different style from
And he
Pavlik.
almost won.
Yeah, and it was a close fight, right?
Yeah.
Now, Calzaghe is like,
I bet on.
southpaw, he's
Yeah.
athletic,
And
he's doing all this, and Pavlik,
Yeah.
orthodox, I'm gonna walk right to you,
Yeah.
you know, it's like kind of perfect for Bernard's strengths, right? Still, the other factor was, okay, he's got to get old sometime, right? So why not this fight? He looked like he was getting old against Calzaghe, but really, that was more a factor of styles, right? You know, but
I bet on him against Calzaghe. I kept.
You bet on? Oh yeah.
I bet on Hopkins.
Yeah, I liked Hopkins against Calzaghe, although I thought it would be a close fight, and I favored Pavlik. I picked Pavlik,
Yeah.
but I thought it was going to be a very difficult fight. I thought Pavlik would wear him down over the second half of the fight. But I remember, because that was back when HBO used to do these little countdown shows, like a half-hour countdown show, and they interviewed me at some hotel here in Santa Monica, and Larry Merchant was there. And I remember talking to Larry Merchant while waiting for my car, the valet,
Oh,
and we were both saying this is a very risky fight for Kelly, and yeah, Merchant said he didn't like it. He said they're just going for the money. They're not thinking long term. They're not looking at the big picture. They're going for the most money, but this guy also offers the most risk. And he said for least reward, because if he knocks out Bernard even in one round, people say you knocked out an old man.
yeah.
But yeah, Bernard had so many fights like that. It's just like, that's why to me he's a great fighter, because
He schooled a lot of guys.
well, it's not just the schooling; it's that he put himself in a situation where the majority of fans and media and bettors think he's going to lose. So that tells me he's challenging himself. You know what I mean? And to me, I think that's something that Roy Jones Jr. needed to do more in his prime, and Mayweather as well. It's something that was missing. Like, seek out those fights where people say, you know what, you bit off more than you could chew. You know what, you shouldn't have fought this guy. To me, win, lose, or draw in those situations, you got to give the guy respect. You know what I mean?
Well, that was.
That's how I feel, anyways. It's different.
Was that a title fight against Pavlik?
It was a non-title fight. You're
Oh, it was
correct.
non-title.
Yeah, because Pavlik was. Bernard lost the light heavyweight title, at least the linear championship, the Ring Magazine championship, to Calzaghe, and Pavlik was the middleweight champ, and they met at a catchweight basically.
Oh, okay.
You know, at 170.
Hey, when Pavlik won the middleweight championship,
Yeah.
was that one of the greatest fights of all time?
Great fight.
That's
that's a
like
shootout, middleweight shootout.
Wow,
So much
I know, but it
drama.
looked like he was dead. Oh my God, that.
I remember JP and Steve Kim more than that actual moment in the
Yeah.
ring, you know, because they were so disappointed. They thought it was over in the second round when Pavlik went down, I
Yeah.
think twice.
Okay, so here I got one.
Yeah.
This was a New York court awarded $45,000 in a lawsuit on October 15th, 1997. And it was stemmed from something that happened to them outside the ring.
Huh.
Two fighters.
This is in '97,
Yeah.
and a New York court.
They
Awarded
there was a
one
there
of
was
the
a
fighters?
lawsuit. This
Yeah.
one guy this one fighter sued the other fighter,
Huh.
and the court awarded him $45,000 stemming from a incident
Was it
they had.
an out of the ring fight?
Yeah.
Did they get into a fight?
No, they
outside
got
the ring?
out of the ring. You know who it is.
No, this is not right.
Yeah, it happened like at 3 in the morning
Oh,
in a
so this must have been.
in a haberdashery.
So was this the Mike Tyson, Mitch Blood Green?
Yeah.
So that altercation took place in the mid '80s. So it took
it happened.
It took Mitch Blood Green 10 years, or more than 10 years.
Yeah, that happened in '88, and he got awarded that in '97.
97. Yeah.
What if he got paid?
Wow. So what was his whole thing? Like, Tyson ruined my career by punching me in the eye, or?
I don't know what it was.
That must have been, at that time, that must have just been routine for Mike Tyson, paying people out. You know, like,
so here's another one.
Here's money, be quiet, go away.
Okay, here's one. The same day, judge dismisses a $6 million defamation suit against a journalist filed by a manager. And you know.
A journalist was sued by a manager.
Right, for $6 million for defamation, and they're both still around.
What year?
1997.
1997?
Yeah, same day, October 15th. It was dismissed.
Was the manager Shelley Finkel? No. Was the manager? Is he a big time manager?
No.
No.
He's just happened to be friendly with this guy, and he was sort of a manager. But the journalist you follow.
Michael Katz?
No.
Huh.
The journalist, okay, I'll give you this. The journalist is actually a pretty good amateur fight. I don't know if he had amateur fights, but he's in shape.
Wally Matthews?
Yeah.
Wally's in good shape. I don't know if he had amateur fights.
Yeah, but I know he boxes in the gym. Right. Yeah, Wally Matthews, and
God, so who was the manager that would have been pissed off at Wally?
And it was a guy who was just on being interviewed about the McGregor fight. Mayweather, he's on some TV program.
Manager?
Yeah, he's a friend. Is
he a New York guy?
Yeah, he's a New York guy that grew up with the fighter, with a heavyweight fighter that
grew up with a heavyweight.
He grew up with. He's been friends with Tyson for years.
Yeah.
He was in that camp.
Oh.
You know who he is. I mean, he's not a big.
Aaron Snowell. Jay
well,
Bryant?
he worked with Aaron Snowell.
So who the fuck would have been?
So I tried to look up to see what that lawsuit was about, but I couldn't find anything.
$6 million. Was the manager an old guy?
No.
A young guy, huh?
Well, I mean now it's
Steve Lott. But Steve Lott wasn't the managerial side.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Jay Bright was somebody who was like in that same house with Tyson, but he was. They brought him in kind of like to train, but he was really a hanger-on. Snowell was a trainer.
I think he worked with Snowell.
Yeah.
What's Snowell's claim to fame?
Holding like a filled-up condom against it. It would look like something.
Right.
A rubber glove.
That was in
not having an inswell.
in the Douglas fight.
Crap, man.
John Horn.
John Horn.
Yeah. So they were buddies, I think.
Yeah,
Horn and Stowell.
Horn was a black dude, right?
Yeah.
Young black guy,
yeah.
right? That's right. Yeah.
And he's still cool. I mean, I saw him.
Really?
He was on a lot. He's a real cool guy.
Really?
Smart.
What the heck did he have to do with
still
Mayweather
looks good.
and McGregor?
No, he was like they had him on. They had everyone in the world on. He was on quite a few things talking about that fight.
Okay.
So anyway,
John Horn. What the hell did Wally write for him to think?
Well,
he must have sued Wally's paper at the time, which maybe was the New York Post. It was one of those big New York City dailies.
Yeah. Wally's moved around a little.
Yeah.
But he's smart. He's good.
Super sharp.
He's really good.
Oh, yeah, no. He was excellent sports columnist.
Okay, so here's the last one. Okay, this was October 15th, 1910. Okay.
Way back, man.
Okay, this was
1910.
A world champ that was shot to death.
Oh, shit.
Because another guy in the training camp, I couldn't really try to look up whether it was a fight or not, and I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
But they both were attracted to the same girl who was a cook at that camp. And the one guy was jealous because the girl liked the fighter more than she liked him.
Oh, yeah.
And
so the guy, so are you asking me, did he die in 1910?
Yeah.
Or is this a fight?
No. He got killed. He was. I mean, you know the guy. You know who he is.
Middleweight champ?
I don't know. Oh yeah,
Stanley
yeah,
Ketchel?
world middleweight champion.
Stanley Ketchel?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was he was fooling around with somebody, and the guy it was the guy's girlfriend. He was like the guy who killed him was like a farmhand, something like that.
Yeah. What was the girl's name?
I have no idea.
Daisy.
Daisy. Sounds like a country girl. Yeah. He was out. I think he was out in Missouri.
It was in Missouri. Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been like
Yeah.
outside of Springfield, Missouri, maybe Willard
Yeah.
area.
It
or
was
something
at a
like
Missouri ranch.
That. Yeah, it was a ranch.
Yeah. And
But I think he'd retired by then. He was only 24 years old. And
Yeah.
had a full career, a Hall
Yeah.
of Fame career.
Yeah.
He's got an awesome record. Yeah.
Hey, so Dougie,
Not bad. I couldn't get John Horn. Shit. I forgot John Horn.
forget it. That ruins the whole day.
I know.
I mean,
Never mind.
Are you
I'm
embarrassed?
going back to bed.
Are you embarrassed?
I'm done. I'm not going to Periscope. I'm not going to tweet. I'm not doing
Yeah.
anything.
And what do you have
the
to
rest
say
of the
to JP?
Where were you? Come on, man. Bring the lad along. Even if he's got a runny nose, it's all good.
Yeah.
It makes him stronger. It's good to get out of the house, get some fresh air. Just get out of yourself for a little bit. It's only for an hour or two, and then you're back in the world,
And we
It's
all
good.
have all these people writing in wanting to know who to bet on next
That's
week.
true. That's true. And
So-
I think you hold the camera better than Dave. I noticed, Dave. You're
No, I can't
Are
see.
You? Oh, you can't see. Okay.
No, I get it there once in a while, but we sort of.
I was skipping rope and I'm looking like I bet I'm like
Yeah.
right off here. They're just
No.
like looking at this track, which
No,
is pretty.
I
by the
still
way.
can't see.
Look at all this. This is
Every
pretty.
once in a while I can see it.
Hey, folks, Kevin Costner was out here.
Yeah, he was here.
Yeah, he was
But
doing.
Lamar
his thing.
Ball is not here today.
No, he wasn't.
No.
That's too bad.
And next week,
Tom Loeffler.
Tom Loeffler will be
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
to give you the real inside skinny what's
What's
happening.
going on? What's happening? Yeah. Is he working all the time? Was he in Germany on business? Or was he chilling?
I don't
He
know.
deserves a break.
He needs a big break.
Yeah, I mean, it was back to
Wow,
back to
he
back
goes.
weeks, big
Yeah.
events.
So today is the West Coast Boxing Hall of Fame at the Garland Hotel in Studio City. It's incredible.
Are you going to go?
I'm not sure. It starts early.
Yeah.
I'd love to go. I went last year.
Who's being honored? Tell me real quick.
I went with Jerry Hoffman last year. So being honored today is a guy that was a matchmaker, a guy around boxing very named Mickey Davies, who died a long time ago. But what's the name of the announcer?
I forget.
I told you the.
Rune?
No,
Not Rune.
no.
No, Enberg.
Yeah,
Dick Enberg.
Okay, so Dick Enberg, who's become a very famous
Yeah.
football, baseball, regular announcer.
Yeah, he's like a legendary
He started
commentator.
his career doing the fights at the Olympic Auditorium, and Mickey Davis was the side guy. And they built, and then they had Eileen Eaton there at that time. So he's going to be, and then Bill Kaplan, which he's a
Are they
publicist.
being inducted or they're getting an award or something?
No, they get inducted,
they're
but
getting
all
inducted,
these
okay.
Hall of Fames are sort of Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
But I went to this one last year, and their presentation's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's really good. The guy, his name is Rick Ferris, who runs it, and I heard him on the Ringside Boxing Show, and that's how I knew about it was going to be now. And the thing, they had a lot of good videos, and
Yeah,
they
I gotta look him up.
it wasn't just a bunch of guys jerking off talking.
Yeah,
It was good.
Yeah,
So
that's
if you get a chance and you're near Studio City, it's probably sold out. So
Yeah.
but it's really good. Anyway, Dougie, you were incredible. I mean, you got that Royal
Oh yeah, no, that saves it. That's I feel
and the
good.
referee.
I'm feeling good about myself on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. No, you did
Alexis Arguello fought in Japan.
Yeah,
They used to travel.
great. Yeah.
World champions used to be
was
world
good.
champions.
Anyway, Dougie, have a great week.
You too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all going to be good.
And,
everyone.
take the high road.
Yeah, be
Drive
positive.
safely.
Be positive. It's all good. Love everyone.
everybody.
Love everything. Don't get mad at anyone. It's counterproductive.
Yeah.
Totally. And here's the other thing. You got to really chew your food. No,
true.
seriously.
I do.
You got to really chew it. I mean, you got to concentrate. You got to eat slowly.
Yeah, savor it.
You've got. I went to this this doctor this week just for an exam, and he's not just the regular doctor that gives you all this medicine and stuff. I mean, so he was talking, and his emphasis was on. Excuse me. His emphasis was on liquefying all your food before you swallow it.
Yeah.
And really, really eat slowly.
I do that.
And it's really important.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see you next week, and Tom will be here, and hopefully JP.
And I can't wait.